Hello and welcome to another update video about Zilliqa. We've seen another pump here that was not unexpected. Talked about it in the last video, that especially before the 2nd of April you can see further price increases, especially as soon as we break that 12.9 cent level. But we get into the detail in a minute. The last video I said have that date in mind, the 2nd of April. I've seen it numerous times that we could see, I mean it's not guaranteed, but it's time to be careful to see basically like a bit of a pump and dump, or call it buy the rumor, sell the news. So on the 2nd of April, because I know that not everybody had it on the radar, they're going to open the doors of the Metapolis, so their metaverse. We talked about it on the Sunday member live stream, that this is a big thing, the Metapolis, the metaverse on the Zilliqa blockchain. And there will be this early access event on the 2nd of April in Miami. So I don't exactly have the details around it, but I know they are going to open the doors to that Metapolis, and it could be just that initial speculation before such an event. You often see it. We had it numerous times in the crypto market. Usually you see those as a catalyst, and then you see the pump, and when it actually happens, for example, there's an event or anything, during that event or after the event, or maybe already a day before the event, it usually starts to correct. Now, of course, there is no guarantee this is happening again, but I can tell you that it is very clear that we are going to see a correction, and it will be a fairly strong correction, I feel. And the reason for that is, and it can happen tomorrow, it can happen in 2 days, it can happen after the 2nd of April, but the RSI on the daily has never been that high. And I can tell you, if an RSI on the daily is above 90, I mean, you call it above 70 already overbought, but at 90, that is significant. That is absolutely significant and ridiculous as well. I think Zilliqa, this is the strongest pump it ever had. Don't get me wrong, I've become super bullish on Zilliqa, but I haven't bought because I missed the initial pump. So I don't mind. There are other opportunities in the market, and I'm going to wait for a retracement to buy in. It is limited in terms of what it can do now. Yes, it can surely until the 2nd of April can move a bit higher, but other cryptos will do the same. And in my opinion, the downside risk is now getting bigger and bigger, especially with a super overbought daily Zilliqa RSI. We can see it on the 2-day chart. You're even overbought. Not many cryptos are currently overbought on the 2-day chart. Again, getting to the maximum it has done before. Even now you're overbought on the 4-day chart. I mean, here it theoretically, if you say already what it did before, we could reach it. So there is a little bit more upside potential. But then on the daily, you are super overbought already. On the 2-day, you are super overbought. So here on the 4-day chart, even you're now above 80. So again, that is super overheated. And here on the weekly as well, I mean, you were higher in the past, but then again, during those pumps up, the daily RSI, for example, had a chance to recover, which at the moment it didn't have. So I'm getting now, it's getting very interesting. I mean, we had huge volume, absolutely ridiculous volume here, which is great for everybody who's in Zilliqa, but I just want to warn you that there might be a correction coming. I can only tell you what I would personally do, and don't see that as financial advice. But if I was in Zilliqa, I would probably now start to dollar cost average out. Of course, not sell everything. I wouldn't do that because it can pump higher. But in order to secure some profits, because there will most likely be a bit of a correction, then probably buy again when it drops lower, maybe to the next fib level. So that's only what I would do. It has moved above the 38.2% fib level now at 15.8 cents. In the last video that I made, I made only one Zilliqa video before, we were around 11 cents, I think. Talked about here potential retracement, and it did retrace all the way down to that 10-cent level, the most relevant Fibonacci retracement level. So, I mean, it did move up to 15 cents nearly, or 14.5, then retraced down. So basically retested that previous resistance as support. And first of all, you had here the 10-cent level. That is already a very important psychological mark, but it's also the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. So the most relevant Fibonacci level. And then it moved all the way up above that wave B here as well. So that gave it a little bit more of a boost here, or pretty significant boost actually. And we are now above the 38.2% fib level. So that will act as support as well. Here the 15.8 cent level. I mean, the daily candle hasn't closed, but the 4-day I think is gonna retest this level. Now you can see it actually. So it would be great. It would actually be good to get now a little bit of a move down, retest that 16 cent level, yeah, or 15.9. That would be very good for the chart to here check or retest that 38.2% fib level, and then from there potentially to have the opportunity to move a little bit higher here. The next target would be the 20 cent level. I think it can get there before the 2nd of April, but we have all to understand that it's getting now a little bit crazy. And I remember the last pump like that we had, that was the Metaverse pump of Sandbox, of Mana, of Gala. And I mean, it's understandable. I mean, Zilliqa didn't have such a pump really, but now obviously, so it did not yet have the Metaverse pump, but we need to understand it now becomes a Metaverse. Well, it doesn't necessarily become a Metaverse crypto, but it's getting a Metaverse on the blockchain. So you can sort of put it into the category of Metaverse cryptos. So therefore it is now seeing that pump. I think that is my explanation for this. And it's getting interesting here. I mean, certainly very, very impulsive what's coming up here. And we could, I think, really say that Zilliqa, I would be very confident to say that it has already seen its low. Many other cryptos, I'm still very in doubt that they have already seen their low, so we could still come lower. But Zilliqa, the way it's pumping up here, I'd be very, very surprised if we came again once more to the lower support level of that green target area that was obviously reached. That is the area where with the highest likelihood those cryptos often turn around. We've seen now various examples, and of all the cryptos I cover, I think only really Polygon Matic and Polkadot and Bitcoin haven't reached their target areas, but all the other ones actually reached their target areas here between the 88.7% fib level and the 78.6. And again, this is the area that we talked about back in November, not specifically for Zilliqa, but for all altcoins. And this is the area where now we see that the altcoins are really turning around, which I think is great. And also gives me more confidence in the TA and the Elliott wave method, because again, it has proven that you're seeing the turnaround here. Now, does it mean we can't come back lower? No, of course it doesn't. For all altcoins, it doesn't mean that. There is still significant downside potential for many altcoins. But Zilliqa here looks really, really strong. And I mean, yes, I'm talking here about a correction coming soon, but also we need to acknowledge how much it actually moved up. So in a drop, it needs to correct all of that down again if it wants to come lower, but I don't think it will. It's moved up 430%. So it will do a correction at some point, but this doesn't mean we're correcting everything. So you're probably gonna do a retracement and then move up further. Yeah, so I think we really here see a really, really impressive pump. I mean, I would give it even the possibility to move to the all-time high in this current move up, which would be 25 cents. But as I said, it's getting already overbought on the weekly, so it's getting very, very critical. Yeah. Yeah, what is certainly interesting, and just seeing that now here on the monthly chart, it's printing here a bullish crossover on the MACD. Not yet, but maybe next month. And that could give it another boost, to be honest, because a monthly crossover bullish on the MACD, that is significant. I mean, the stochastic RSI on the monthly is very low. The monthly RSI generally is already at 62, so that is fairly high. But everywhere the indicators are currently high for Zilliqa. So, I mean, it is a good pump. Everybody who's in there, great. Personally, I now wait for a correction because I missed it. Yeah, I didn't have it on the radar. And when it already pumped like 200%, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'll stick with my projects that I already cover and will certainly get into Zilliqa when we see the first substantial correction, and there will be one. What I can't tell you is how much it comes down and when it will happen. Can't tell you that yet. I need to see how the structure is going to develop, how high the price is coming before it will get exhausted. But we're getting now into very, very overheated territory. But what I can tell you, generally for the next major wave up that might already have started, the overall target would be at least 41 cents. So it doesn't mean it gets there in a straight line, absolutely not. There will be corrections in between, but this would be the minimum target, 41 cents, but it can certainly get higher, maybe 50, maybe even 66 cents. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking here for Zilliqa. Interesting. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.